My sister and her children were a great family. My sister was everything that a mother should aspire to be. A loving person. She's caring. She's kind. She's just all around good person. She was a mother through and through. I was trying to stay strong for my sister.
This story is difficult to talk about, but we're going to because it actually happened. You're talking about 5 children murdered, 6 people dead. This is unreal. The district attorney handling the case held a press conference, gave us more information. Let's take a listen.
Today I charged Jaron Pridgeon with 6 counts of murder, the 7th count of shooting with intent to kill, and an 8th count of possession of a firearm while on probation. I also filed an application in his probation case. He was arraigned today at 3 o'clock. Court entered a plea of not guilty on his behalf, set a court date of February 18th, 2021. The issue on the death penalty will be made at a later date once the investigation is complete and I visit with the family. That decision will be made.
The 911 call was one of the big questions yesterday. I can answer that for you today. That was made by the suspect from a cell phone.
You said the suspect made the phone call himself?
That's correct.
Can you tell us anything of what he said at that time?
I don't know the content of that phone call. I know that he made the initial 911 call and asked for EMS to be sent to their location.
Do you know what precipitated the officer finding or something?
Because the suspect came out of the home with the weapon in his hand and refused to drop it.
What kind of shots were fired?
I don't know how many shots were fired at this time.
What kind of weapon was it carrying?
I don't have that information either at this time.
Did he still have it on him when they ended up arresting him, or did he drop it during the chase?
He did not have it in his possession when he was taken into custody.
But it was recovered?
There was a weapon recovered.
Did anybody develop any motive for the shooting, or what?
So I'm not going to talk about a motive.
Please.
We're not going to talk about a motive at this time either.
All right, let's get some more information. Joining us back on the program tonight from KJRH, our great affiliate in Tulsa, Oklahoma, anchor and reporter Vincent Hill, who's been following this story. And Vincent, also a former police officer, so has that area of expertise as well. Vincent, let's start first with the reaction from this community to what took place there. This is bad.
Yeah, Vinny, it's bad in the fact that the suspect, and I don't want to name his name just based on what he did, 3 of those kids were his that he killed in the house. And that Tuesday morning, I was in a dead sleep when I got the call about it at 7 in the morning. So I rushed to the scene and was out there for pretty much the entire day, about 12, 13 hours. And just the fact that this happened to such little kids, it's something that the community definitely was not expecting, definitely wasn't ready for. You know, I talked to the police chief there, Muskogee, and he told me he hadn't seen anything like that since the early 90s when he actually worked a case where a mother and 4 of her kids were killed in a house, something similar. So it's definitely not something you hear every day, Benny, and it's definitely not something you forget or that you forget anytime soon.
You know, the other part of this thing we have to think about, we've got 6 counts of first-degree murder here. A count of shooting with intent to kill, possession of a firearm after conviction or during probation. Shooting with intent to kill. So there is one survivor to all of this, correct?
Yeah, that would actually be the children's mother, Brittany. She is actually fighting for her life in a Tulsa hospital. At last check that we knew of, she was up and awake and talking, according to her sister, just a few hours ago. So it looks like there's some hope here. But when you think about it, Vinny, you know, if she does survive, how do you bounce back from the fact that your children are now dead and the person responsible for it is their father?
I have no idea how she will bounce back. But we're looking at the pictures of these beautiful children, Vincent. This is unthinkable, beyond unthinkable. This defendant, again, we don't have to say his name, but this is someone who had a history. It's not his first time.
Yeah, definitely not his first time. He had some ag assault charges there in Muskogee, I believe an auto theft or something to do with the vehicle. So it's definitely not his first time. And, you know, Vinny, when I look at what happened based on what I know, again, being at the scene all day, police were called to the scene apparently by him, and he had a gun in his hand, and one of the officers did fire upon that suspect. He missed. There was a foot chase. So you have to think as well, was this an attempted suicide by a cop to come out of that house with that gun in your hand? Because, of course, we know officers react to deadly force with deadly force. So you have to think, did he want to take his own life after calling 911 and saying what he did and then coming out of the house with the gun?
Being at that scene all day, I can't imagine how neighbors and family would react when they would show up and knew what was happening, and then the officers and the investigators and CSI folks who go in and see these children and then have to come back out and you know, do their jobs. And this is the worst of the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about that family, they had recently moved into that house, so most of the neighbors didn't know them. But one thing that got me, Vinny, well, two things that got me. The grandparents actually showed up to the scene, and they didn't know that their grandchildren were dead and that their daughter was fighting for her life. So we left them alone, but it was hard for me to know what was going on with them being there. And the second part for me, Vinny, at 10:46, and I'll never forget this, 10:46, when they started moving those bodies, and I could actually hear the bodies hitting the floor of the van. That's something I don't think I will ever forget.
Vincent Hill, appreciate your time tonight. I know you're extremely busy and doing a great job out with KJRH. Always great to have you on the program to give us the insight and that, you know, is very unique. I know you'll continue to follow this case because now it's going to turn into a trial or an indictment or whatever. So we'll check back with you. Thanks so much.
All right, Vinny, always a pleasure.